Okay, so if you've seen the first part of the video, some real simple adjustments on this thing to get this thing set up, get your flame kind of pointed in the right direction and things like that. But what we're going to do is, now I set that up originally based off of a 243 case. What we want to do is set it up for a 7mm, something bigger. Now to do that, we've got to change the wheels out. The wheel with the blue coating always goes on the bottom. The one with no coating goes on top, and they go in a 10 or a 12 and 4 position. So basically like this. Now you'll notice one side here has a cutout. That's the side that the nut's going to go into, and very, very simple to change. I just take a little 7/16 1/4" drive here, put it on here, and I just pop it just like so. They don't need to be tight. One thing to note, it's very important to have the cases really nice and clean on these. You want to make sure that they get a nice bath before we go running them through the machine, because what will happen is, this is a real sticky, like a silicone type coating. What happens is this will start getting a bunch of dirt and grime and stuff on it, and the cases, as this wheel spins, it won't spin the case like it should, because it just gets too much grit on there, and it loses that sticky texture. So you can simply clean these off if that happens, solves the problem. Or if you're just running clean cases, it really shouldn't be a problem. So let's take this off real quick. And notice this also has a cutout. The back side does not. They're not all that way, just depends on the depth that you're looking for. So very, very simple to change. Put the other ones on here. And all I do is I just take the nut here and just drop it down into the socket like so. And it's depending on the type of socket you have, that may or may not work out so well. If some of the deep sockets, if they don't have a shelf on the inside, it'll fall in, but these don't. So okay, so before we tighten them up, what we want to do is we want to put these here at about 12 and 4, and that'll get the timing where we want it. Now it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but roughly 12 to 4 is kind of where you want it. Now let's give these just a little bit of a twist here. Again, they don't have to be super tight, no reason for them to be. Let's just turn it on here real quick. Make sure everything's working okay before we get started. Spinning that just fine. All right, we'll just take a look here, make sure that everything's working okay. The brass is spinning just fine. We'll pick that up, move it right out of the way, and drop it off into our tray. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to do a really quick readjustment here on the torch turnbuckle, because I've got to make sure that this is set up for the 7mm case. So all we're going to do is make sure that this is pointing into the shoulder and just a little bit below it. Make just a quick tweak here. I'll show you a close-up of this here real quick. That's going to be pretty much where I think I want it. And again, you can always fine-tune this after you get the flame shooting. So that's right. It's right about there. I think that looks pretty good. Let's take a closer look so you can kind of see this angle of this. Okay, the flame tip should be hitting somewhere right in here, and then of course you're going to get flame out the neck and down through the shoulder and just into the top side of the case. You don't want to go too far down in here because that is a thicker, harder wall of the case that you don't want to anneal. So we're close. We're just a little bit on the high side there. Twist that down just a little bit. Again, if this is too tight, grab that nut on the back side, and that'll allow you to twist it down just a little bit. But I think that's going to get us pretty darn close. So let's fire this thing up and see what it does. All right, let's give this a try. I just did a few here, just making some quick adjustments, and I'll show you what I just did. Basically worked on my timing. We didn't really have to do much with this here, so we're going to go in 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, picks it up, starts moving it away. On to the next one. We're seeing a nice, very faint blue line there. So that's being annealed just perfect. You never want to see these turn orange or red at all. Just get that nice kind of a bluish color to them. There should be a very, very faint line just below the neck. We'll show you that in a second. Let me turn the lights off out here to get you a better idea of where that flame is actually contacting. And here we go. Right there at that junction. It's like a work of art. Okay, the flame tip should be hitting somewhere right in here, and then of course you're going to get flame out the neck and down through the shoulder and just into the top side of the case. You don't want to go too far down in here because that is a thicker, harder wall of the case that you don't want to anneal. Okay, so here's the finished product. This one is not been annealed yet. This one has, and you can see that line right there, and that's just right where I want it. And the rest of it, of course, is annealed all the way out to the very end. So that is perfect. I would not recommend going much below this because you start getting into the thicker, harder body of the case, and you don't want to start ruining stuff or putting yourself in any sort of a dangerous situation. So, okay. So again, I have loaded or annealed hundreds of cases at this point. Just not my own stuff, but even friends' stuff that they've dropped off. This is a friend of mine here. His bag just dropped this off and said, hey, do these too. So it works great on everything I've used it with. Just swapping out the wheels, a couple minor tweaks with that motor assembly in the background. Very, very simple. The rheostat, the switches, the compactability of this, you put everything in the back when you're done, set it off in the corner, it's out of your way. It's a really, really slick machine. If you have any questions on this thing, just drop the questions in the comments below, send me a message, whatever it takes, we'll answer them for you. And a big shout out to Jeff Buck at Anneaaleez for sending us this. That was awesome. You're going to see me using this thing a lot in the future, and if I come up with any new little tricks and tips on this thing, I'll certainly be, I'll share them with you guys. So I guess that wraps this up. I'm sold on this unit, and I'm really enjoying it. It turns brass out just perfect. I really like it. So if you like one of these, I'll leave a link below. Jeff is a great guy to talk to. Their spot on customer service was phenomenal. Really, really enjoyed talking to Jeff. So anyways, that's my story, and hope you guys enjoyed this little two-part series. Again, you'll see this in the future, so we'll see you soon.